This video is a look back on 2022, which will be mainly clips of me trying to look cool standing on top of hills and clips of my brother falling on his arse. I never grow tired of watching that. If you ever used to watch the hit show Friends, then they always used to have one episode per season where the gang would all sit in the cafe and discuss things that had happened that year. It was basically an excuse for them to reuse old clips so they didn't have to film a new episode. And that's basically what today is. It's an excuse for me to use some footage that I've got on my phone that I haven't used for other YouTube videos and tell some stories that I haven't told before. If you enjoy that, please continue watching the rest of this. There are two things that I remember about the start of 2022. One, it started with glorious sunshine, and two, everyone was doing the text quiz Wordle. Is that still a thing? Do people still do Wordle? I moved on quite quickly. I now do Quordle, which is 4 Wordles at once. That's for the truly hardcore. The sunshine didn't last long. We were soon back into snow. My main aim for the year was to do the Keltman Extreme Triathlon. I also had another aim for the year, which I will reveal at the end of this video. At the end of every year, I like to look back and see just how much swimming, biking and running I did and compare it with previous years. Thankfully, I don't have to work this out for myself. I use a website called veloviewer.com, which produces a really nice infographic. VeloViewer will first prompt you to log into Strava. It will then go away and get all of your swimming, biking and running activities for the year. It'll take a minute, but it will try and produce a nice infographic. The infographic gives you details about how far you've travelled in a year and how many times you've gone up a mountain. To make it a bit more localised, I choose my home city as Glasgow and the mountain as Ben Nevis. I'm pleased to see that this year I managed to do more than 4,000 miles of exercise. This would have taken me as far as Alaska and the city of Juneau, which I've just Googled and discovered is the only city in America which is not connected by road to anywhere else, which means the only way to get there is actually to swim, bike and run. The majority of those 4,000 miles were done in the first 6 months of the year when I was training for the Keltman Extreme Triathlon race. There's a video about that if you want to watch it. It's quite interesting. It tells you everything that happened. But what I didn't mention in it was that I actually did the Keltman 0.5 race a week later. And here's some footage from that. The race starts in Shieldig, just like the big version of the race. There was much less people hanging around at the start though, because this one requires no support crew at all. It's a beautiful day for the swim, and thankfully there was hardly any jellyfish. The course has a challenging bike route which goes over the Biak na Ba, which is the highest road in the UK. It looks quite nice in the video, but the rain was absolutely torrential once you got to the other side. The last section of the bike course goes along the side of Loch Torridon. You think this bit's going to be flat, but there's a couple of cheeky climbs in there. I didn't bother starting the run because I was knackered, but it did mean that I had to cycle all the way back to Shieldig because that's where I'd left my car. I then drove to the finish line so I could film some of my friends who were finishing the race. Keltman 0.5 is an amazing race with probably the best bike course of any event in the UK. It tries to claim that it's going to give you an extreme triathlon experience. I don't think it does really. I think the extreme triathlon experience is the camaraderie you get from doing an event with supporters. There's someone there helping you get to the end, and it's that camaraderie that differentiates it from a normal triathlon. It's not the fact that the bike course is slightly harder or the run is slightly more difficult. If you want a good race on the best triathlon in the UK, go to this, but don't expect the full Keltman experience. If you ever go to either Keltman race, then make sure you head to Lower Diabeg. This is a small village at the end of a one-way road. There's amazing views as you travel along to it, and at the end there's a restaurant that serves delicious food. Make sure you get the sticky toffee pudding. During the 6 months training for Keltman, I didn't get ill once, but as soon as I finished the Keltman 0.5 race, I tested positive for COVID, which is a good excuse to have a rest. A dose of COVID is a good excuse to stop running and biking, an excuse that I seem to have held on to for about 6 months because I've been incredibly lazy in the second half of the year. During the summer though, I do like to continue swimming, and I'm very lucky that my local loch is only 20 minutes away and has an absolutely beautiful, stunning drive to get there, so it was always a pleasure to go swimming. Last year the water was flat, calm and beautiful, and I had lots and lots of amazing swims. This year the wind was in the wrong direction and quite often we'd head along and it would be a little bit choppy. Still good fun, but hard work. Last 6 months also gave me a chance to try some new things. So I went to Gourock and tried the outdoor pool there, which was surprisingly salty and pretty warm. I also played golf for the first time in a couple of years. Golf Pro once told me that I have a swing like a professional footballer. And if you watch this, you'll see why. Yeah, he said rubbish like a footballer. My brother swings a lot better. He is actually quite unusual in that he never takes a practice swing. He just walks up and hits it straight away. Always seems to work out all right. I also started playing badminton, which was a little bit harder than I actually thought, but good fun. And we tried foot golf. This is me missing, and then if you watch, my wife shows me how to do it. The foot golf was in Crieff. If you're ever in that part of the world, make sure you check out Drummond Castle. It's got amazing Italian gardens. I haven't been able to run as much in the last 6 months due to my Achilles injury, but I have been doing lots of walking to keep fit. And one of my favourite locations that I visited this year was Corryfee, which is just north of Dundee. After a couple of years of COVID restrictions, it was good to finally have a holiday in 2022. I'd actually had a holiday booked for 2020 to Gran Canaria, which had got cancelled because of COVID. It then got cancelled again in 2021 because of COVID, so it was nice to finally go. Gran Canaria, if you've not been, is an amazing place with great biking. There's parts of it that look just like the Grand Canyon in America. We were staying in Melanares, which is on the south of Gran Canaria. It's full of cycle paths in town, which makes it really easy to get out into the countryside and into these amazing views. We hired electric mountain bikes, which made this journey a little bit easier. Although on the first day we did have a problem with the chain snapping and I had to push an electric mountain bike 6 miles back to the start. It's very hard work pushing an electric mountain bike. I don't know if I'd have managed this route without an electric mountain bike because it was absolutely boiling, like 28 degrees Celsius and very, very hilly. But thankfully, the way back down it was all in concrete and didn't have to pedal once to get all the way back to the hotel. And once I reached the hotel, I was very pleased to see the buffet. I think I tried every single one of these desserts. Most of my trips this year were up to Lewis to go and visit my mum. Check out this amazing footage. It's not been altered in any way. That is actually the ferry trying to do some reverse parking. Normally the ferry would come in with the front facing the pier, but the front door was broken, so it had to use the back door to let cars on and off. This did mean that we had to park in such a way that all the cars had to do a U-turn inside so we could get back out again. Unfortunately, my granny passed away this year at the ripe old age of 102. She lived in her own home in Isle of Lewis right until the end. And I think if we can all last that long and live in our own house, we'll all be happy. I think if my granny knew what an iPhone filter was, then she wouldn't have let me take that photo, but I always quite enjoy it, so I've stuck it in there. Now, I promised at the start of the video that there was 2 goals for this year, and the other one was more personal related. The second goal was, the aim was to try and start a family, and unfortunately that was not successful. Because it's going to happen in 2023 instead. Yes, my wife's pregnant and she's due to give birth in February next year. That's very exciting news and means a big change to my life and my wife's life, but something that we're both looking forward to very much, and hopefully it all goes smoothly. Lastly, just like to thank everyone who has taken the time out to watch any of these videos. I make them for my own amusement and also so that my wife and mum know what I get up to when I leave the house. So if you haven't watched any of them, then thanks very much, and I wish you the best for 2023.